Hey everybody, welcome to SI.com. I'm David Gardner and this is College Basketball 1-1. It's the first edition of March, and to join me is the guy who's most excited it's March, Seth Davis. How are you, Seth?
I'm doing great. I am very excited.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Seth, is your annual all-glue team. How did you first start this, and what's the process for selecting these guys?
Well, this goes back, David, to the year 2000, so I'm afraid to do that math, frankly. We did a story in the magazine for our NCAA tournament preview issue. Alex Wolf was a writer on the story, and I worked with him on it. And I took the 1999 UConn champion and looked at two players, Ricky Moore and Kevin Freeman, as guys who were glue players and helped UConn win that championship. And so our idea was to identify a glue team heading into that year's NCAA tournament, and I thought it was such a good idea that I've taken it and run with it on the web and done it every single year since then.
All right, and we've got the exclusive glue team here today. Take us through the roster. Who are the guys
this is
year?
So much bigger than when Hannah Davis was revealed in this very studio out for the cover of the swimsuit
She's watching
issue.
and waiting for
yes,
this
my
right
cousin
now.
Hannah,
Yeah.
and as long as we have Hannah Davis and Seth Davis here, let's start with Rayfel Davis at Purdue. He's a great defender and leader. Alex Barlow, the point guard of Butler, whose name should be legally changed to former walk-on guard Alex Barlow, gives them a lot of their defensive presence, a very good rebounding guard, which is something that I look for. Dustin Hogue at Iowa State. Again, not one of their glorified players, but last year in the NCAA tournament when George Niang got hurt, he stepped up as a scorer, which is one of the things that you look for, someone who's capable of scoring but doesn't quite score a lot. We've got a couple of repeats actually. Josh Gosser at Wisconsin, the Iron Man who set the school record at that school for the most starts. And then Takale Cotton, also a repeat winner from Wichita State. Not the offensive threat that his backcourt mates Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker are, but he's their defensive presence, their emotional leader. I actually have for the first time ever an honorary member of the all-glue team, Briante Weber at VCU, who probably was going to be my captain until he got hurt. He was on pace to be the NCAA's all-time steals leader, and he gives that team their personality. But my captain, speaking of personality, is Rico Gathers, the junior forward at Baylor, who could be the nation's leading rebounder. He does score a lot of points, which in some ways disqualifies people from being a member of the all-glue team, but most of his points come off of his rebounds, his offensive rebounds. He's the best offensive rebounder in the country. He's the one guy that when Baylor walks onto the floor, they can say to themselves, we got the baddest dude in the gym. And so Rico Gathers is my captain this year.
Talk about how special Rico Gathers is as a player. I mean, Baylor was not expected to be a top 25 team again this year. You lose a guy like Isaiah Austin down low, and you think the points in the paint are going to come as easily, and then Rico Gathers steps in and fills that void right away.
Well, and he does it with things that a lot of other players can't do or won't do.
Right.
And that is just, being a great rebounder. And obviously his physique, I mean, he's built like Adonis. People think he should be a football player. Never wanted to play football. He's all about basketball. I think he's committed to playing basketball. Scott Drew told me that beginning last year they stopped doing rebound drills in practice because people were getting hurt bouncing off his body. But it's not enough to be big and strong. There are plenty of big and strong players playing college basketball. To be a great rebounder, you have to be committed to it. You have to want the ball more than the other players. And you have to have an innate sense of timing and anticipation as far as where the ball is going to go off the rim, and also a quickness to be able to get there. So he has all that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing the all-glue team with us. Like we said at the beginning, it's March now, so we've got to turn our attention to the NCAA tournament, what we've been waiting all season for. Give me a team outside the top 25 right now, because UConn at this time last year, they weren't in the top 25, and then they went on to win the national championship. What's the team that could do that this season?
Well, the one that comes to mind is right up the road here in St. John's. I mean, if you look just in terms of the physical talent that they have, one of the first thing that you look for is, do they have a great scoring guard? And St. John's certainly has that in D'Angelo Harrison. They have a guy who actually, until a couple weeks ago, was definitely going to be on my all-glue team, and Sir Dominic Pointer, and now he's played himself off that team. He's become a very assertive scorer. He's a tough matchup, and that has changed the game for them. And then they have a defensive shot-blocking presence in Chris Obekpa. So they have great talent. They haven't always been consistent, but they are playing well late in the year, which is the same thing that happened last year. So I know it's a stretch, but like you said, last year UConn, the last day of the regular season, lost by 31 points to Louisville. No one was thinking, wow, this team could really make a run in the national championship. Maybe this is going to be that St. John's does it.
Absolutely. I look at another team that's been a little bit inconsistent as well, Michigan State. For me, the number one reason is it's hard to bet against Tom Izzo.
It is.
Isn't it? It's hard to bet against a guy with such a track record as him. And then they've got upperclassmen. They've got Travis Trice. They've got Denzel Valentine. They've got a lot of guys who can really put points on the board and who have been to the NCAA tournament before. They know what they're doing. So, you know, I look at them right now and I see that loss at Wisconsin and I say, I don't know if I can really pick them. But again, we're under the parameters of outside the top 25, and I think that's a team that could make a run. And like I said, you just don't want to bet against Tom Izzo.
Well, if you're going to pick a coach to exceed expectations in March in the tournament, you can do a lot worse than Tom Izzo.
Absolutely. Seth, thanks so much for joining us. For SI, I'm David Gardner. Thanks for watching.